Hi guys, welcome. I am Jessy from Jessyherdollup, and today we are doing a crochet tutorial on this yellow bathing suit. We're just going to do the top in this video, and then later I will do the bottoms in a separate video, and I'll have that link in the description below when I get it done. So let's go ahead and get started with the top. So I'm going to be using Dollar Tree yarn. This is the Just Yarn worsted, and it is a medium number 4 yarn. I'm going to be using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a slip knot. So to do that, I wrap the yarn around my fingers twice. So there are 2 parallel lines in the front, and then I pull that over and pull it in between my fingers and then slide it off. If you need a slower video on how to do that, there will be a link in the description for that one as well. Now we're going to go ahead and chain, and to do that you yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. For this beginning foundation chain, we're going to need a chain of 41, and I'll go ahead and show you why. So this is going to be the square neck of our bathing suit, and then here at the end, these corners all represent a stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and count out these stitches and then put a stitch marker in each corner. So I have stitch markers or safety pins if you don't have stitch markers. So I've done 6, and then I've put a stitch marker in the 7th one, done 6, and then on the bottom there's 12, 6, 6, and then there's 1 extra chain on the end because I'm going to turn my work and start in the second chain from the hook. So here I'm showing you that's the first, that'll be the second one. So I'm going to start with a half double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over it, and then I'm going to go into that second loop from my hook. I'll go ahead and yarn over again and pull through that loop. I'll have 3 loops on my hook, and I'll pull through all 3. Okay, I'm going to show you that one more time. So I'm yarning over, I'm going into that second loop from the hook, yarn over, pull, come out, pull through all 3 loops. One more time, yarn over, go into your stitch, yarn over, come out, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that is all just a half double crochet. So I'm going to do that all the way until I reach my stitch marker in every stitch here. Okay, and then once I've made it to my stitch marker or my safety pin, I'm going to go ahead and take that out, and this is where we're going to create the corner of our neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and go in there and do a half double crochet once, and then I'm going to go back into that same space and do a second half double crochet, and then I'm going to do that one more time. So all we're doing is 3 half double crochets into the same space. Oops, and I'm caught here, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this last stitch one more time. So we're still just doing 3 half double crochets into the same stitch, and then once you have that completed, you'll go back to doing just 1 half double crochet into every stitch until you get to your next stitch marker. So that's going to be 6 stitches until you make it to the next one, and then we'll go ahead and do the same thing that we just did. So we'll take out that stitch marker, and then we'll go ahead and do a half double crochet into that space. So there's 1, here's going to be 2, and remember we're going into that same space, and here is 3, and that's going to create our corner. Then we'll go ahead and go back to our regular pattern of just 1 half double crochet into every stitch and work our way along. You should have 12 stitches until you make it to the next stitch marker, and then we'll do 3, and then we'll repeat that pattern. So here again, I've made it, took out my stitch marker. I'm going to do 3 half double crochets into that same stitch, and that's going to give us a nice corner. Okay, and once I've completed that, then I'll go back to doing 1 half double crochet into every stitch until I make it to the next stitch marker, and then we'll repeat that same thing. And then once I've made it to the end, and I go ahead and do a half double crochet into my very last stitch. Okay, and now I'm ready to begin my next row. So I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to flip my work. And that chain 1 that I did, I'm going to go ahead and skip and then just go into the second chain from the hook, which is right where my work is, and go ahead and do a half double crochet, just 1 into every stitch. And I'm going to do that all the way along until I come to that corner again. And I will find, so here I am to the corner, and I'm going to find that center stitch. So I did 3 into that same stitch. The one in the middle is the one I want to go into. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the first one and just do 1 half double crochet. And then when I've made it to that second one, which is the center one, I'm going to go ahead and repeat what I did last time. So there's 1 half double crochet into that stitch, and then I'm going into that same stitch and doing 2 more half double crochet, so a total of 3 half double crochet in that very corner stitch. And then I will repeat that all the way around on every corner. And then when I come to the end, which here I am to the end, I have this nice square neck. I'm going to fold over, and then these are going to be our armholes. It's actually upside down, so it goes this way. There's our armholes, and then we'll do the bottom edge. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get ready for our next row. So I'm going to chain 1 and flip our work, and then the same thing, I'm going to skip that stitch that I just chained 1 and go into the second chain from the hook with my half double crochet. And I'm going to work that all the way around, and this is almost going to be the same as the last row, except for we're going to stop once we get to that corner. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a stitch marker here so I don't get carried away. Okay, and as you come to that stitch marker, which is going to be the second stitch where we did 3 half double crochets in the same stitch, we'll go ahead and go and just do 1 half double crochet this time. And here's where we're going to create our armhole. So we're going to go ahead and chain 5 at this point. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to find that same stitch on the other side, so the second one or the center one where we did those 3 in the same stitch. So we'll go right into that. We're going to yarn over first and do a half double crochet just into that stitch, and that's going to create our yarn armhole. And then we will once again just do half double crochets all the way across into every stitch across the front until we get to the other side, and we'll create our other armhole over there. So once I'm here, once again we're going to find that second stitch, and I'll go ahead and go into it with just 1 half double crochet, and then I will do my chaining again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just like we did on the other side, I'll find that center stitch of those 3 that we did in the same stitch. I'll go into it, I'll yarn over first because I'm doing a half double crochet, and then I'll finish off that stitch that creates armhole on the other side, and then I'll just do half double crochets all the way to the end. And once I make it to the end, I'm going to go ahead and finish off. Now I'm going to try on my doll at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch my stitch marker in the end of my work just so it doesn't come undone while I'm trying it on my doll. And this is where I'm going to make sure it fits before I do anything else. So here I've grabbed a doll. I'm just going to make sure that her arms fit through. And this pattern works for any doll. My model at the beginning of the video was an American Girl. This one is a My Life doll. So now that I know it fits, I'm ready to start my next row. So I'm going to chain one, and then once again, I'm going to go into the second chain from the hook and begin my work. And this row is just going to be half double crochets into every single stitch all the way across, including when you get to this chain area. So you'll do the same thing, but it will just work like your foundation chain does. So instead of going through two loops, like the back and the front loop, because there's a chain here, you don't have both of those. So you'll just go through the top loop right there. And you'll do that for this armhole, and then you'll do that for the other armhole as well. And when you go back to where you don't have an armhole anymore, you'll go through two loops again, so the back one and the front one. Okay, and then once you're to the end, you'll go ahead and finish off. And then we are ready to, I'm going to chain one and turn my work. And if you wanted to make yours longer, like a shirt, you can just do more rows of half double crochets. But I'm doing a bikini top, so I'm going to go ahead and finish off with my decorative part. I've chained 4 and I've turned my work. I'm going to go ahead and skip one stitch, so I'm going into the second stitch from the hook, and I'm going to do a single crochet. So to do a single crochet, I insert my hook, I yarn over once, I come out, I have 2 loops in my hook, and then I yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Okay, now I'm going to chain 4 again, and I'm just going to repeat this pattern all the way across. So I've chained 4, I'm skipping 1 space and going into the next space and doing a single crochet. Then I'm going back to chaining 4. I will skip a stitch and do a single crochet. Okay, and that creates kind of this decorative edge along the bottom. We'll do that all the way across. And then once you get to the end, I have, let's see, 3 stitches here left. If you had 2, that's fine. Just go ahead and finish off with a single crochet in the last stitch. I'm going to work a buttonhole on this end. So to do that, I'm going to work, well, first I'm going to make sure that where I want my button to go, but I'm going to weave in this end real quick just so it's out of the way. So just take a darning needle or a yarn needle, and I'm going to go in between the stitches as least noticeable as possible. I'll go one direction, and I'm just going to make sure this doesn't come undone while I'm doing this. Okay, so I'll go one direction, and then I'm going to go the other direction just once. I'll go in between the stitches so this isn't noticeable. So I've gone 2 directions, and now I'm going back the same direction that I went the first time, just to make sure everything doesn't come undone, and then I can go ahead and snip the rest of that off, and nothing's going to come undone. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and finish up with this buttonhole. So I'm going to start with single crochets. So I have one more on the bottom here, so I'll just go through both of those loops, yarn over, that's a single crochet, and then I'm going to work those all across the back until I get ready to put in my buttonhole. So here I've done 2, And you can, depending on how big your button and where you want it to be, you can decide. So I'll do at least one more single crochet here. Sometimes on the end it's kind of hard to get in there, so yarn over, then pull through those two. Okay, so now I'm ready for my buttonhole. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, 2. I'll kind of measure and see. So if your button was bigger and smaller, just measure it and do however many chains that your button is. So I've done 3 chains and then I've skipped 3 stitches as well, and then I'm going in with a single crochet again. Okay, and then I'll do it one more time just to finish it off. And if you wanted, you could just do single crochets all across the top. I'm trying to keep this just really simple, so I'm not gonna go around the neck border. I'm just gonna cut it off right here, and then I'll weave that tail in again. And then I'll go ahead and sew my button on this side. I have kind of a funky button, so it's going to be hard to sew on, but you might have a different button where you can just sew it on the top, but make sure that it fits through your hole. So that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys.